College football is being destroyed? College football is struggling? I don't know about you guys, but I think college football has drastically improved the last few years. The conference realignments have put the powerhouse programs against each other. We're not seeing nearly as many games where Alabama's playing a school like Wiener Tech. I've always preferred the NFL over college football, but always kept up with college. But there was a period of years recently where I quit watching as much college football because there were just way too many blowouts. It was so uncompetitive. But over the last 2 or 3 years, I think college football has drastically improved. So how in the hell are they struggling? How are some programs losing millions of dollars every season? Gordon Whitener is the owner of the Whitener Company, a consulting and investing firm that's involved in sports and media. Yesterday, he published an interesting article talking about the current state of college football. According to Gordon, college football and college sports across the board, it's built on an economic model that is not sustainable. Make sure to like and subscribe. You can follow me on Twitter at KC_BTL84. Link to the main channels in the description below. According to Gordon Whitener, most college athletic programs are bleeding money. The mid-tier programs, the lower-level programs, they're essentially on life support, which kinda to be expected. Once college football became pay to play instead of play to receive an indoctrination or an education, once college football became pay to play, you knew the smaller programs were going to struggle. They don't have the money. They don't have the financial resources to pay the best players. Even if a smaller program scouts and recruits an elite player that no one else knows about, after a season of dominance, the player is going to transfer to the highest bidder. So I understand why smaller programs are struggling, but major programs? According to Mr. Gordon, major programs are struggling to sustain their budgets. Unfortunately, he doesn't provide any data, so I guess we'll just have to take his word for it, but I don't think it's much of a stretch. Take Ohio State, for example. Ohio State, they are paying their athletes over $35 million this season. Now, you got to remember, the vast majority of college sports are already money losers. Outside of football and men's basketball, damn near every other sport loses money. On top of those losses, you now have an additional $35 million that you're spending. But KC, these teams are making millions. Football games are sold out. They have TV deals. These major programs have plenty of money. Yeah, and I'm sure some major programs are still somewhat profitable, but they are nowhere near as profitable as they used to be. And these smaller programs are drowning. The problem with NIL, there is no regulation, and it's getting absolutely ridiculous. One of my friends at lunch last week, he was telling me about a high school quarterback. Kid was heavily recruited by one of the top schools in the state. They paid this kid, a literal kid, they paid this kid $1 million to join their high school football team. A high school kid. A kid who isn't old enough to buy Benadryl from CVS. A kid who's not old enough to buy lighter fluid from Publix. This kid is supposedly making $1 million to play quarterback in high school. You know, initially, I was all about players being paid in college. For decades, these woke universities and the networks, they were making billions of dollars while most of these kids were eating stale spam. But there's got to be some level of regulation. There's got to be rules. Otherwise, the vast majority of teams cannot survive. If college football is going to be semi-professional football, which it already is, then it needs to be run like a professional league. The sad part is, the vast majority of these players, they're never going to make it professionally. So the money they are making now, it's going to disappear in 3 or 4 years. And I would be willing to bet most of them are not getting an education to prepare themselves for the future. Some of these lower level players, they'll go from making $150,000 a year to play football to making minimum wage at Ace Hardware. And the thing is, if we're being honest, a lot of these players, they are not worth the money they're being paid. In the NBA, Steph Curry is worth every bit of the $45-50 million that he's making. You take Steph Curry off the Warriors, no one is watching, no one's buying tickets. If Arch Manning leaves Texas, stadium will still be sold out, millions will still be watching on television. In college sports, fans follow teams. They don't follow players. Hell, it's impossible to follow players nowadays because they're constantly transferring. Something has got to be done. Programs can't just continue losing millions of dollars every season. The problem is, the NCAA is weak. There is no governing body anymore. There is no leadership. So, who is there to step in to solve the problem? Sound off in the comments below. I'll see you guys later on the main channel.